You and I are formulation geeks. Like we really get into the science of the formulation of some of these new topicals. And this one, Zoryve, Roflumilast cream, as well as the foam, really changed the game. And I don't know that we can under I don't know that we can, excuse me, over appreciate how important it was for them to take some of the ingredients that are commonly used in the cosmetic industry and apply them to a medical cream, because I think there was a really strong appreciation early on with the founders how important the use and the feel and the cosmetic dry off, all of that was to the patient suffering from atopic dermatitis initially, and then spread to the psoriasis patient and the sebderm patient. Do you agree?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I have to take the opportunity to thank you and Patty, of course, for putting the Science of Skin Summit together and bringing this important concept and these ideas to life. Because honestly, Ted, you know how I feel about this. They are so important. And I know you do. You built a conference, you built a movement around teaching about this, talking about this, learning. I've learned so much from you and from the conference. I feel like I've been able to engage in this discussion because typically you don't talk about this, but yes, amen. This is exactly what we're saying for especially for the eczema patients. But if they can benefit, golly, the psoriasis patients, the sebderm patients, everybody's going to benefit from a well-formulated product that feels good to put on. And it's weird if we don't talk about that because that is a huge part of the adherence and a huge part of the satisfaction of the patient. If they're not happy, if they're miserable using it, even if they're better, why are we putting friction there? If they like it and they say, oh, it feels great, it's so nice to use, that's going to help everybody. Again, everybody wins.
Yeah, they realized early on, I think, Peter, that there was such a barrier issue with all of these different dermatoses that we're talking about, that they had to make sure that their cream, with the penetration enhancers that everyone needs, although they didn't need much, wouldn't affect the barrier at all. And that's what they found with Crotafos, for example, Transcutol, as well as another ingredient that they borrowed from the cosmetic realm to apply to the formulation of Zoryve cream. I just thought that was brilliant. When they started talking about that, that's when I was really hooked because, like you said, we had the baggage of Crisaborole that we were also worried about, and they were like, no, no, no. We figured this out. Like we understood what you were saying, and we've applied that to the ingredients in the Inky list. And man, that from then on, I was like, I'm your guy.
Oh my goodness, me too. And to hear sort of the story of its development just like that, I kind of that's kind of my origin story of falling in love with the importance of formulation. After I really took that to heart, I thought we need to understand this better as a specialty because this really matters. And we can say that with authority. I went in skeptical. I'm here now as an evangelist of sorts for
Mhm.
this medicine and for others like it. I mean, this isn't the only thing out there, but I love
Right.
that I want everyone to follow their lead. I want this to be a beacon to say, hey, look, topical medicines are so important. They touch everybody's life. When they're well done and they put together, they solve a problem that literally nothing else can solve.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you touched on the maintenance dosing, right? Where maybe it's just twice weekly to the hot spots to prevent a flare. Because I think our patients, like they hate the disease, right? But they truly hate they live in fear of the flare. And if we can alleviate that fear by saying, hey, just use this twice a week. We've got good data to show that it can prevent or delay flaring. That is huge for them. It's not every day because they hate to apply medicine every day, as would I. But if you could say, hey, just choose Mondays and Thursdays and just put it on once a day for me, I feel like we get a lot better compliance that way. And honestly, patients are much happier as well.
Amen. And would I like them not to have to use anything? Sure.
Yeah.
But again, this is not, we're not putting this in healthy people. This isn't for fun. This isn't for,
Mhm.
for beauty. This is because they're suffering. These are miserable patients who are unhappy and potentially exposing themselves to more dangerous treatments. And we're trying to minimize it. We're trying to thread that delicate needle, get
Mhm.
people better, keep them better safely. And we want to make sure they can keep it up. And that is hard to do. And this is
Yeah.
one of those situations where I can say with a plum, we did it.
I think we just need to touch on the safety just a little bit because we really haven't. We've spoken about the efficacy and the formulation and really all the amazing attributes, but we should touch on safety. It's also an amazing attribute. It is a PDE4 inhibitor, right? And we know from apremilast, for example, that we can have some systemic side effects. Certainly not to any extent of a systemic drug, but we do see some people have a little bit of GI upset, maybe some diarrhea. What else do we see? Headache in a small percentage of people. Am I missing anything, Peter? I think those are the most common.
Those are the biggies. We saw the
Yeah,
reaction site, and the application site pain or
yeah,
stinging is very, very low, is like around 1% or less. So we know that's
mhm.
really good. But yeah, the one I tell my patients about is loose stools,
Okay,
because it's once in a while, and it
yeah,
really does seem to be part of that pathway. This is a powerful medicine. It's well absorbed, and apparently in our distal colon, some of the water reuptake enzymes rely on PDE4. So if we block that, then you retain a little bit more water in your stool distally, and you'll have a little loose stool. But what I tell my patients is, if you see a little bit of that, usually it's fine. Within a few days, your body will regulate. If there's an issue, you call me, you let me know if it seems too much. But generally speaking, knock on wood, I've never had to stop it because of that.
yeah. Very mild to moderate at the very most. Usually, if it happens once, it doesn't happen again. And I think in the studies, I don't know if anybody discontinued because of that. If it were, it was very, very low numbers. So, yeah, I think we've got a great overview here, Peter, of the PDE4 inhibitors, kind of the history of them, where we are now with this most modern PDE4 inhibitor with Roflumilast, which again was born from its oral systemic cousin for COPD. So it wasn't a brand new molecule to the body. We knew that it was well tolerated. And now, as a topical, boy, the sky's the limit. And that's just exciting.
It really is. And I think it bodes well for the future of our topicals. They mean so much to me, to both of us. We want people to keep working on them because there are unmet needs. I mean, I wish this worked for everything. It works for a lot of things. And now we have a new tool, but I want to encourage people to see the success of Roflumilast in this context. And hopefully it will inspire other companies not to be afraid of making topicals, but to embrace them and say, hey, this is really important to dermatologists. And boy, this is great for our patients. It helps them in ways that, yes, the new fancy systemics, those are amazing for the more severe patients for sure. But a topical can touch lives, so many more lives, because even the mildest or the most localized disease, we have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and I don't think we're ever going to move away from topicals. I mean, they're just like you said, for that mild to moderate disease where the $10,000 per month biologic is probably not the right way to go. This a really effective, safe, once daily topical with maintenance dosing that has been published is important. And I love what you just said as a call to action for industry. Please don't veer away from topical therapies. I know everyone's so focused on biologics and systemics, and I appreciate that. But we continue to need innovation in topical therapies, much like roflumilast.